So Dennis Prager here. I just want to remind you that because I travel so much, sometimes I have to pre-record a fireside chat, and references to Otto will be from a fireside chat when Otto was living. So please understand that is the reason. Well, hello everybody. Dennis Prager here with the fireside chat. A chance each week, and it's all entering 6 years, to just open up about thoughts on my mind and then take questions from you from wherever you are in this world, and they do come from all over the world. Otto is here, and that doesn't tell me anything about how long he will be with us, as you probably know by now. So it happened during a question period of one of the fireside chats that an idea arose, and I spoke about it, and I'd like to address it again in a different way, because it's really, as so often in my life, some ideas begin to percolate and they don't let go of me. It's not that I don't let go of the idea, it's that the idea doesn't let go of me. And here it is, that overwhelmingly people believe what they want to believe. And that may sound like an obvious thing, but whether it's obvious or not, it's of unbelievable significance. And what's the alternative to believing what you want to believe? It's to believe what is true. Let me talk about truth for just 1 second. Not 1 second. I don't want to exaggerate, for perhaps a minute. The root of most evil is lies. More than, I believe, love of money, more than greed, more than lust, more than any of the bad traits that are built into human nature. The lies are the mother of evil. If people were all committed to truth, the world would be close to a paradise. And the longer I have lived, the more I have realized truth is almost everything. Now, by the way, that doesn't mean it is always wrong to lie. I just want to make that clear. If a rapist is chasing a woman and you know where the woman ran and says to you, I want to rape that woman, would you tell me where she went? You should lie to him, okay? I mean, we understand that there are times where a lie is the moral thing to do. But overwhelmingly, truth is the mother of goodness, or at least the mother that allows for goodness. So we should believe what is true, not what we want to believe. And how do you figure that out? How do you figure out what is the difference between what you want to believe and what is true? By the way, sometimes what you want to believe is true. I mean, much of what one believes, I assume, I want to believe that winter follows fall because it's true. I mean, it's not a big deal. But I have to tell you that you have to ask yourself this very interesting question. Whenever you believe something, you have to ask yourself the question, do I want to believe it? That's question number one. And then, do I believe it because I want to believe it? So I think during that fireside chat in the Q&A period, I think I mentioned, for example, that I admit I would like to believe that there is an afterlife. The thought that this is all there is, that those who suffer unfairly, there is no recompense, there is no heaven for the good, no hell for the bad. We never reconnect with all those that we deeply love. I mean, of course I want to believe in an afterlife. In fact, I ask atheists when I debate them, and I know immediately if I'm debating an honest person or not. I ask them, I'm just curious. To the atheist, I ask this, do you hope you're right? or wrong? If the atheist says that he hopes or she hopes, say it's he, that he hopes he's right, then I realize I'm not dealing with an intellectually honest person. Why would you want to believe? I understand that you might believe that there is no God, but that you would want to believe there is no God, therefore that ultimately there is no ultimate meaning to life, that there is no nothing after you die, nothing, it's all just eternal zilch, then I had this with a very famous atheist. I asked him this question. I said, so I'm curious, do you hope you're right or wrong? And if I recall it correctly, he was not prepared to say either way. And then I just put it to him. I said, wait a minute. You love your children. Do you not hope that you will reconnect with any of your children after you die, that this is it when you die? I said, well, if you put it that way, yeah, I hope I am wrong. Okay, fine. So there would be a good example. Now, I admit that I do hope that there is an afterlife. So then I ask myself the question, are the rational arguments for an afterlife compelling? Or do I only believe in an afterlife, Bayado? Or do I only believe in an afterlife because I want to? You have to ask yourself that question about anything that is controversial. I'll give you another example that is as far removed from an afterlife as one can get. During the COVID period, people had different positions on the vaccine. So here was an example of where I did not believe what I wanted to believe. I wanted to believe that the vaccine was harmless at worst, and at best, tremendously helpful in protecting vast numbers of people, which is the nature of a vaccine, from getting COVID and being hurt by it. But the more that I studied, the more I realized it was not good for the vast majority of people, especially younger people, and could be actually quite harmful. So I came to resist taking a vaccine in my own life. But I will tell you, that was a good example of where I came to believe something I didn't want to believe. Who wouldn't want to believe that a vaccine works? I mean, you have to be a sadist. Of course you want to believe it works. So the question is, all the people who did believe it, or even more dramatically, all the people who believed in lockdowns, in closing schools, did you want to believe closing schools would work and protect children and teachers from death? Or terrible sickness? Or did you think that, well, I really want to believe that they're not a good thing, but I've come to the conclusion that they are? Well, for me, there was no issue. I didn't want to believe lockdowns were good for children, and they turned out not to be good for children. That means what you have to do in life is just say what's true. That is what you have to ask about, and what is rational and what is true. The heart is such a powerful force in people's lives. Emotions are so much more powerful in most people's lives than reason. And this is one example of that, where your passions direct what you believe, not reason. But that's not good, because the amount of terrible things people have believed with their hearts and with their feelings, which just weren't true and caused terrible things to take place, is very, very large. So it's a great test. Make a list on a piece of paper. Things I believe and whether I want to believe that is true. Or start the list the other way, things you want to believe. See if there's any conflict. If there's no conflict in your life at all between what you want to believe and what you do believe, if you can't make any list of that, that's not a good sign. It means that generally speaking, you just do believe what you want to believe. By the way, people do this a lot with people that they fall in love with. Okay, everybody, at this point, I have to remind you that to watch or hear the rest of the Fireside Chat, please go to prageru.com and click on Fireside Chat. The reason we do this is because we want you to start watching and listening at the outset at prageru.com and download our app, because we don't know when the guillotine will fall, because we don't fully trust the social media, and they may just say, no more PragerU at some point. So that is the reason we do this, and we hope you will go to PragerU now, at this moment, literally, and just simply subscribe and download the PragerU app. And we continue.